In Egypt's remote Sinai Peninsula, archaeologists uncovered evidence of a violent religious revolution. Ancient temple walls bear scars of systematic destruction, sacred images lie defaced, and an entire religious site was put to the torch. They buried the evidence, we dig it up. This is the verified story of what happened at Serabit el-Khadim, where enslaved miners rose up against their captors' gods and left behind some of the world's first alphabetic writing. This is the Artifacts Detective, and today we're investigating one of ancient Egypt's most dramatic religious conflicts. Welcome to the Artifacts Detective, where we investigate history's greatest mysteries through archaeological evidence. I'm your host, and today we're examining extensively documented archaeological discoveries that reveal a dramatic religious uprising in ancient Egypt's turquoise mines. In this investigation, verified by multiple archaeological expeditions, we'll examine physical evidence of temple burning and religious iconoclasm, the world's earliest alphabetic inscriptions and what they reveal, archaeological proof of conflict between Egyptian and Semitic religious systems, how these findings provide context for understanding ancient religious texts. But first, let me show you evidence that has been confirmed by over a century of archaeological research. Serabit el-Khadim stands as one of the most thoroughly excavated sites in the Sinai Peninsula. Since 1762, when Carsten Niebuhr first documented it, this remote mountain complex has been studied by dozens of archaeological expeditions. The evidence we're about to examine has been verified by Sir Flinders Petrie's expedition, 1905 to 1906, published by the Egypt Exploration Fund. Harvard University's Excavations, 1927 to 1935, documented in Excavations and Proto-Sinaitic inscriptions at Serabit el-Khadim. The Metropolitan Museum's work identifying over 20 hard stone statues. Israeli archaeological teams, 1968 to 1978, whose findings appear in Tel Aviv archaeological journals. The French Institute of Oriental Archaeology, 1996 to present, published by Valbel and Bonnet. What these expeditions uncovered was extraordinary. The temple complex spans 2,800 square meters, making it the largest in the Sinai Peninsula. Carbon dating and pottery analysis by multiple teams confirm construction during Egypt's 12th dynasty, specifically under Amenemhat III, around 1800 BCE. But this wasn't just a temple. Archaeological surveys documented by the Austrian Archaeological Institute reveal extensive mining operations. The workers weren't Egyptian. Pottery analysis, tool typology, and burial practices all confirm they were Canaanite prisoners of war. Dr. Manfred Bayatak's Excavations at Tel el-Daba, published in Egypt and the Levant, found matching Canaanite material culture, confirming these workers came from the Levant as prisoners. In 1905, Petrie discovered something revolutionary: inscriptions that weren't hieroglyphs. William Albright of Johns Hopkins University, in his definitive The Proto-Sinaitic Inscriptions and Their Decipherment, confirmed these represent the world's earliest alphabetic writing. Alan Gardner's analysis, published in the Journal of Egyptian Archaeology, decoded recurring words like Bilti, Baalat, meaning the lady. This breakthrough has been verified by Benjamin Sass, Tel Aviv University, in The Genesis of the Alphabet; Gordon Hamilton, Huron University, in The Origins of the West Semitic Alphabet; Christopher Rolston, George Washington University, in multiple peer-reviewed articles. These aren't disputed readings, they're scholarly consensus based on over 30 inscriptions. But here's where our investigation takes a dramatic turn. The archaeological evidence reveals this wasn't just a mining site, it was a battlefield in an ancient religious war. Multiple expeditions have confirmed we're looking at Canaanite slaves who developed the world's first alphabet. But what they wrote with it reveals evidence of violent religious revolution. The temple at Serabit el-Khadim was dedicated to Hathor, the Egyptian cow goddess. This has been confirmed by hieroglyphic dedications translated by the British Museum. Over 40 stelae published in Inscriptions of Sinai by Gardner and Peat. Architectural analysis by the Polish Center of Mediterranean Archaeology. Hathor appeared in two forms, as a woman wearing cow horns with a sun disk, or as a full-bodied cow. She presided over music, dance, fertility, and the afterlife. The Metropolitan Museum's Egyptian Art Department has documented hundreds of Hathor artifacts from this period. The Canaanite workers called her Ba'alat, the lady. This identification has been confirmed by Harvard Semitic Museum's inscription corpus, Tel Aviv University's Proto-Sinaitic database, the University of Chicago's Oriental Institute publications. Multiple inscriptions praise Ba'alat, carved by workers seeking her protection in the dangerous mines. But then something dramatic happened. The French archaeological team under Dominique Valbel documented systematic destruction. Ba'alat's name scratched out in over 15 inscriptions. Cow imagery deliberately defaced. Religious symbols smashed with tools. In place of Ba'alat, new inscriptions appeared invoking El, the Canaanite high god. Frank Moore, Cross of Harvard, in Canaanite Myth and Hebrew Epic, documented epithets including El Olam, Eternal God, El Elyon, God Most High, El Shaddai, God Almighty. These aren't speculative translations. They match known Canaanite divine names from Ugaritic texts. The Israeli excavation team, led by Bino Rothenberg, documented extensive fire damage. Burnt temple walls, showing temperatures exceeding 800 degrees Celsius. Melted metal offerings, carbonized wooden beams dated by radiocarbon analysis. Ash layers containing destroyed ritual objects. The burning was deliberate and thorough, confirmed by fire pattern analysis showing accelerant use. Systematic destruction of cult objects. Evidence of rapid site abandonment. One inscription, published in the Israel Exploration Journal, mentions the Gate of the Accursed One. Egyptologists, including Kenneth Kitchen, confirm this refers to Pharaoh's Gate, suggesting organized rebellion against Egyptian authority. The archaeological evidence presents remarkable parallels to biblical narratives. A cow deity worshipped by enslaved Semites. Religious revolution rejecting cow goddess worship. Location in the Sinai along traditional Exodus routes. Dating to the Middle Bronze Age, consistent with biblical chronology. These parallels have been noted in peer-reviewed journals including Biblical Archaeology Review, Journal of Biblical Literature, Vetus Testamentum. Supporting evidence comes from multiple sources. The Ipuwer papyrus describes chaos in Egypt during this period. Tel el-Daba excavations show Canaanite slaves in the Delta. The Amarna letters document Semitic groups called Habiru, causing unrest. The archaeological evidence is overwhelming. A religious revolution occurred at Serabit el-Khadim. But what does this mean for our understanding of ancient history? When examining this period, Egyptologists have documented numerous Semitic individuals in Egyptian records. James Hoffmeyer's Israel in Egypt catalogues Semitic names in Egyptian administrative texts. Canaanite officials in Egyptian government. Evidence of Semitic integration and conflict. The name Moses itself, according to consensus among Egyptologists published in Journal of Near Eastern Studies, Zeitschrift für ägyptische Sprache, Journal of the American Research Center in Egypt, derives from Egyptian MSI, to give birth, found in names like Thutmose and Ramose. This represents scholarly consensus, not speculation. We have verified evidence of religious revolution, cultural conflict, and the birth of alphabetic writing. Now, let's see what this tells us about this crucial period in human history. Let's review what over a century of archaeological excavation has verified. First, extensive evidence documents a violent religious revolution at Serabit el-Khadim, where Canaanite slaves rejected Egyptian religious authority. Second, these slaves developed the world's first alphabetic writing system, using it to record their religious transformation. Third, physical evidence confirms the deliberate burning of Hathor's temple and systematic iconoclasm against cow deity worship. Fourth, the time frame, location, and cultural context align with ancient Near Eastern texts describing Semitic peoples in Egyptian bondage. This verified evidence illuminates a crucial period in human history. The birth of alphabetic writing emerged from cultural conflict. Religious revolutions in the ancient world left physical traces. Enslaved peoples found ways to resist their oppressors' ideologies. The archaeological record preserves evidence of dramatic social upheavals. Leading archaeologists and biblical scholars, publishing in peer-reviewed journals, recognize these findings provide important context for understanding ancient texts, including William Dever, University of Arizona, the archaeological evidence for the Exodus, Israel Finkelstein, Tel Aviv University, the Archaeology of the Israelite Settlement, Amihai Mazar, Hebrew University, Archaeology and the Biblical Narrative. While scholars debate specific interpretations, the physical evidence remains undisputed. Based on verified archaeological evidence, we can conclude religious conflict between Egyptian and Canaanite belief systems is archaeologically documented. The world's first alphabet emerged from this cultural crucible. Physical evidence of temple burning confirms ancient accounts of religious revolution. The archaeological context aligns with the general time frame of biblical narratives. What archaeology cannot do is identify specific individuals from ancient texts in the material record. That remains beyond current methodological capabilities. The events at Serabit el-Khadim had profound consequences. The alphabet developed there would eventually spread worldwide. Religious ideas forged in conflict would influence major world religions. The site preserves evidence of humanity's struggle for religious freedom. The artifacts don't lie. The evidence speaks for itself. And what it tells us is that 3,800 years ago, enslaved miners in Egypt's remote mountains staged a religious revolution that would echo through history. The burnt temple walls, defaced inscriptions, and revolutionary writings they left behind provide tangible evidence of one of humanity's pivotal moments, when oppressed people rejected their oppressors' gods and forged new ways of understanding the divine. What do you think about this archaeological evidence? How does physical proof of ancient religious conflict change your understanding of history? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to see more evidence-based archaeological investigations like this, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Uncover more ancient mysteries. Follow the Artifacts Detective and join the investigation.